Life comes at you fast, because if you told me a couple years ago that I would be making a video right now about the Orlando Magic and how good I think they're going to be not only this season but in a couple years to come, I would have laughed at you. But this Orlando Magic team has actually been a treat to watch. Last year, they're being a young team that really isn't that good but showing a lot of potential, and what they could be this year is just something on another level. So let's talk about why I think the Orlando Magic not only can be close to a play-in team this year, but have one of the brightest futures in the entire league. Let's talk about it. But before I get started, hi, I'm Fabi. I've been making videos for a little minute now, and it's actually been going really great for me. The channel's been doing great, and I can't thank you guys enough for the support that's been coming to this channel. But in the off season so far, if you like basketball content and you really, need a fix, since we're not gonna have meaningful basketball until like preseason, but right now some leagues going on. So if you need a fix, I'm your guy. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're really close to 2,500, so I'd love to have you here. Going into last season, looking at the Orlando Magic roster after drafting Franz Wagner was a little hard to watch. The team overall, people felt like they picked Franz a little bit too high. Cole Anthony really hasn't shown what he could do yet. You traded away your only all-star, which you needed to, because he was wasting his career there, for Wendell Jr. And the start of the season, Wendell wasn't playing too great. But overall, this team just shown a lot of potential. And as the years went on, they just got better and better. Even though they kept losing games, they just looked really, really good. Right now, Cole Anthony, he made the jump as a scorer, but he's certainly not the most efficient person in the entire world. But Franz Wagner was the biggest surprise to me this season. Along with his completely polished offensive game and underrated defensive game, it's absolutely insane just how good this kid is. A very streaky three-point shooter. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's really off. He's very, very good at changing speeds. He has that kind of Gordon Hayward, Luka Doncic touch, where he's not extremely athletic, but he just understands the game and understands how to change speeds and directions to keep his defender off balance and be able to make it to the rim. He's an extremely good interior passer and kickoff passer, very good playmaker for this team, and he's great at scoring off the ball, which is going to be good considering that you have Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and now Paolo coming here that are all great on the ball scorers. And being at 6'10 and being that good of a defender so far, with Paolo also having that type of defensive presence and defensive ability, then you look at a guy like a Bamba and a Wendell Carter. This team could be one of the biggest in the entire NBA, with Franz having the capabilities, and if he was able to improve his three-point shot, to play 6'10, be a 6'10 two guard, having Paolo play the 3, with Wendell playing the 4, and Bamba playing the 5. This is just a hyper version of what the Toronto Raptors were this last season. And speaking of Wendell Carter Jr., I don't think that there's somebody that just needed a new space other than him when he left Chicago. Being a odd man out in their offensive rotation, not really getting the touches and ability to develop, being on the Orlando Magic and basically being handed the big man keys is the best thing that could have happened to this man's career. Because right now in the season, even though he started out pretty bad, it slowly worked his way up, and he just got better and better. Not only becoming a better three-point shooter, but overall just becoming a better offensive player. And surprisingly, even though he doesn't get it, his block and steal numbers don't fly off the page, he's actually a pretty good defender. While he isn't crazy disciplined, and he does have a slight foul problem, 15 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists on 52% shooting and 33% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game is a really good season to build off of, especially in the season. As the months went on, he consistently just got better and better. Pre the All-Star break, he was averaging 14 points per game. After, even though he only played 11 games after the All-Star break, he still averaged 19.6 points, 11.6 rebounds on 37% from 3 and 59% from the field. While I don't think those are going to be his numbers all the time, it's really good to show that he can become great. And re-signing Bamba was one of also the best moves they could have made in free agency. Bamba is a big on the Orlando Magic that I didn't think got a good shot at it, really. With Vooch there and them drafting him and him being sort of a project and have to develop his game, being behind Vooch and not having the runs to really get better, learn from his game and build that way was definitely a problem. But him developing into this good of an outside shooter was definitely not on my radar. 38% from 3 this season, on 4 attempts per game, averaging 10 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks, being one of the better rim protectors in the NBA. And while he's not much of a defender outside of the painted area, his long wingspan, and surprisingly pretty quick feet at times, sometimes they do look like they're in the mud, has the potential to be a very good perimeter defender. And being only 23 years old, being the Twin Towers duo next to Wendell Carter Jr., who's also developing to a three-point shooter, giving Wendell the space to work inside, but also being that interior protector that helps the Orlando Magic on defense, is perfect for this team. Then you have Jalen Suggs, who also showed some flashes of what he could be, but this rookie season was genuinely awful. I'm sorry. 11 points per game on 36% shooting and 21% from 3. I'm not going to be somebody that harps on somebody shooting that bad in their rookie season, especially as a guard. God knows that there's so many guards that really had a bad rookie season and then developed into something great, aka the most recent guy, I think, being Lonzo Ball. But I'm not going to harp on him too much, and I do expect him to still get the same 27 minutes per game next season, as you can't give up on somebody that you picked in the lottery after our first year. Then you look at a guy like Markelle Fultz, who didn't play too many games this season, got injured very quickly, but every single time he's on the court, he's shown the flashes of what you thought you would get as a number 1 pick. While his jump shot, abandoned him with the shoulder injuries and all of that since he came to the league, he's been able to rebuild his game and get to a certain point where he's shown the flashes of his finishing ability, showing the flashes of his playmaking ability, and he's not a chair on the defensive end. Overall, this team just has a lot of ways it can go, and adding somebody like Paolo, who has those interior scoring abilities, who's that dominant as an inside threat while developing an outside jumper, has that type of defensive upside, is perfect for this Orlando Magic team. All it takes is for them to develop the talent that they do have now and find the pecking order for this offense. This season, it was a little bit all over the place. You were really trying to find who would be that number 1 offensive guy. The ball was just swinging everywhere, and I think that was with so many guys being in and out of the lineup because of injuries and sometimes changing minutes for a young team. They didn't really get to build a rhythm, which directly correlated to their bottom of the league offense, but they were also one of the league's, at least a top half of the league defense. That 17th place in defensive rating doesn't tell the full story when a couple guys were injured throughout the year. They definitely have a good defensive philosophy and defensive focal point right now, but that offensive game with somebody like Paolo now being here, being the number 1 option, the guy you build around, I think that this establishes the pecking order. Right now, I think this is definitely an inside-out team where you start off going inside and then you work your way out to your shooters, because right now this team doesn't have too many of those that are reliable. Hell, one of your best shooters is your 7-footer that's in the paint. But right now, this is just amazing to see, and I really enjoy watching this Orlando basketball last season, and I really am going to enjoy watching them develop this season, especially with Paolo here. You finally are able to get out of the wretches of mediocrity very soon. This team has the potential to be close to a play-in team, if not a play-in team. I don't think you may make the playoffs, but that's still definitely a positive. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Do you think the Orlando Magic can at least make a playoff team, be a play-in team? Do you think that they have a really bright future? With all that being said, this FRB, that's my time, and I'm out.